So raise your hands. How many of you have ever been through a breakup? Okay, so I'm really sorry because I know how shit that feels. Excuse my French, I did not expect that to come out of my mouth. Elliot, what did you do? That was totally unexpected. Sorry, that was a complete ad-lib there. So I do know how that feels because a couple of years ago, I actually unexpectedly ended my 15-year relationship. And as you can imagine, I was feeling very upset and sad and kind of angry. I was also grieving because there were a lot of dreams and hopes that I had for the relationship that never going to happen because it was over. And I took a couple of months of kind of moping around, as you do when you're heartbroken. You kind of feel like crap and you don't really want to do anything. So I didn't. I did the bare minimum that I needed to keep my business running and keep my life ticking over, but just didn't really want to do very much. But after a little while, I got a little bit fed up and was like, all right, I'm done with this moping. Let me get out of the house and let me go and meet people. So I decided to find some events where I could meet some new people who could perhaps be my next love interest. And found myself at this mixer, singles mixer, feeling very nervous and anxious and being like, I don't really know what I'm doing here. Are they even gonna like me? Do I even know what to say? This is really awkward. I felt really like out of my depth, a little bit like, like why? Why am I here? Let me just go home. I just want to hide in my hole. Being the introvert that I was, that was kind of standard for me. And it kind of reminded me of when I actually started my business back in 2011, and I was starting to go out to networking events. And like I said, being an introvert, like I really didn't want to go networking. Like making small talk with people was not my idea of a good time. And I remember going to my first event feeling the same way, being like, what am I doing here? Why did I choose to get out of my house and be in this room full of people where I'm totally overwhelmed and I don't know what I'm doing and I don't know what to say and oh my goodness, why am I here? And I remembered that I actually knew how to network. When I was at this single mixer, let me get my words out. There we go. And I realized that actually, yes, I knew how to network because I'd learned how to do it a few years ago. And actually got to a stage where I actually really enjoyed meeting people. So I felt really ironic that I was like sitting there in this group of people that I didn't know, feeling like, oh my goodness, I don't know how to do this. And I reminded myself of 3 things that I really think would be useful for you guys to remember when you're connecting with people here this evening and when you go, maybe you're going to mixers as well, you're going dating, maybe it's just when you're networking for business. So the 3 things I'd like for you to bear in mind are to make the connection more important than anything else. Okay, make it more important than the next date, the next drink that you're going to get, maybe getting into the person's pants, whatever it is you're trying to do. Please make it more important. The connection's more important. If you want to get business, it's also very important to keep the connection as well. One way you can make sure you stay connected to people is to actually be curious about them and be really interested about them as a person rather than thinking about yourself. Maybe you were like me and you're going, oh my goodness, what am I doing here? Why are they going to talk to me? They won't like me. But being really curious about that person and finding out more about them allows you to find common ground and takes your mind off that voice in your head that says, what are you doing here? And that allows you to make a really fulfilling connection with the people that you meet, whether that's in a personal context or a business context. Because actually when you have more points of contact with somebody, you get to build a much more stable foundation for that relationship, and also allows you to basically have more longevity in that relationship as well. And the final thing that I remembered was if you like somebody, you need to stay in touch with them, because otherwise how do you get to build that relationship? And really with dating, this is really important, because if you meet somebody, you like them, and you don't actually get back in touch with them, how are they going to know that you actually want to go on that next date? And so even if you are the woman, and this actually worked really effectively for me, if you follow up with the person, say, it was really great to meet you, had a really great time talking to you, let's talk some more, then who knows where that's going to go. It works really well in networking as well, and it doesn't really matter what gender you are if you do that, because it's a business context and it doesn't matter so much. But if you are going out there and you're connecting with people, then I highly recommend that you bear this in mind and really stay curious with people, really make sure that the connection is more important and that you follow up with them afterwards. So enjoy, and maybe that will help you resuscitate your love life as well.
Thank you so much. much, MJ.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm shortening your name.
it's cool.
So one of the things that, first of all, who learned something? And who could actually relate to a lot of what she was saying? I was like, oh my God, I've been there. So one of the things that we do, because obviously this is, members' time to kind of learn. Our lovely judges here, Elliot and Anik, you've heard from them before, and obviously they know their stuff. So they're going to give MaryJane a little bit of feedback.
So, okay, very quickly, there's a couple of things. Number one, it's so nice to see your playful side come out. You're not throwing your head, and that's really nice.
That's your fault.
That, of course, everything always is. The second one is breathe. I felt you were really hammering, like going really fast. I think in your head you're competing with the clock. Just let go, let it flow. And if you're hearing yourself being fast, then the chances are you are being fast. So slow down, breathe, and let us digest what you're saying.
Cool.
Good job.
Thank you.
Nice. You know what I found so amazing? I was sitting there the entire time smiling. And like halfway through, I was like, why am I smiling? But it's, if someone speaks to you and they're just so bubbling over with energy, it's so infectious. And have you ever seen a speaker who's just more quiet and then they're just like, that makes such a big difference. Like, I really love that. I found like after the second half, like what Elliot said, like the slowing down, what happens is we take in 2.5 minutes of MaryJane, like bubbling on, like, yeah, and more words, and yeah. And at some point, I'm still thinking about 2.5 minutes, but you are at 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and I'm still processing.
So slow down. Slow. Okay.
And I'm sure you know, but there was
I get excited.
one
Sorry.
person once, and I forced her to deliver her talk this way, not in public, but practicing. She had to say every single word, like really slow. And then she realized what it actually means, slow for yourself and slow for the audience. But you get that. That was amazing. Like, I just love bubbling energy. Good job.
Thank you.